For worksheet 2, what we need to do is we actually need to solve for x before we can graph it. So we're going to solve for x just the same way we do with equations instead of inequalities, with one exception, and that is when we need to multiply or divide by a negative number. And in those cases, we have to do something different. So I'll show you that when we get to that. All right, so on these, what we need to do is solve for x. So what is the opposite of negative 6? Positive 6. So we add 6 to both sides, and we get x is greater than or equal to 4. Now we can just graph this. So x is greater than or equal to, so since it's also equal to, it's a filled in dot, and it's greater than, so we're going to go that way. And there we have it. So number 3, we have to solve this for x. So what's the opposite of minus 6? So x is greater than or equal to 4. And in case you didn't notice, I just noticed that those are the same problem, but that's okay. So x is greater than or equal to, so since it's equal to, we're going to have a filled in dot, and then 4. All right, so on this one, we have to solve for x, so this is 2 times x, so the opposite of times is divide. Divide both sides by 2, and x is greater than negative 2. So since it's not equal to, we're going to use an open dot. So x is negative 2, and it's x is greater than, so we're going to go that way. I actually didn't do enough of these negative ones, so I'm going to go ahead and do one of the even ones. And I leave you 2 even ones to do with the negatives also, because we need to talk about the rule change. So the only thing that changes here is, to solve this for x, we need to do divide by negative 3. Let's cancel. And x is, when we divide or multiply by a negative, we have to change the direction of the signs. So in this case, x is greater than 4. All right. So just remember, on 8 and 10, you're going to end up having to divide by a negative. So when you divide by the negative, or multiply times the negative, you have to change the direction of the sign. All right, so over here, we have x divided by 3. So the opposite of divide by 3 is multiply by 3. Those cancel, and x is greater than 9. Since it's not equal to, we use an open dot. All right, now we just have a 2-step equation here. So we have to get the term with x by itself, so we got to get rid of this first. Plus 3 plus 3. 2x is greater than negative 4. Divide both sides by 2, because that's 2 times x, so the opposite of times is divide. And x is greater than negative 2. So negative 2, since it's not equal, we use an open dot. And x is greater than negative 2. This one, so we have to get the term with x by itself. So we're going to do the opposite of the other one. So what is opposite of plus 3? Minus 3. And x divided by 2 is greater than negative 2, sorry. This is x divided by 2, so the opposite is times 2. So x is greater than negative 4. So since there's not an equal sign, we put an open dot, and we go greater than negative 4. All right, I'm going to leave the other ones for you to do. Just remember, if you have to divide or multiply by a negative, you have to change the direction of the sign. And on this one, you would start by distributing the x, and distributing the 2. So you'd have 2x plus 6 is greater than 8. And you'd subtract 6 and divide by 2.